It's recording.
It's recording? Okay, perfect. So a quorum being present, I will call the meeting of the Freetown Conservation Commission to order. Before we get started, I will read the governor's order right quick here. So pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people who may gather in one place, this meeting of the Freetown Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public can be found on the Town of Freetown website, freetownma.gov. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website or YouTube channel an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of the proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Okay, so it appears we have quite a large agenda tonight, but I will let folks know that in general, a lot of these things are being continued for various and sundry reasons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go through all the items that need to be continued, and then we can get to the heart of what we're here to do tonight. So item number 2, it's a notice of intent for 41 Water Street. Unfortunately, the applicant has not got the advertisement out in time and the notification to abutters. I don't know if Victoria, is John here?
Yes, he's on.
All right. So this is in response, and thank you, John, because we have been asking for this, but this is in response to the enforcement action that was taken relative to the work at 41 Water Street. Part of our enforcement action that required a notice of intent. Unfortunately, the advertisement wasn't placed in time and the notification to abutters haven't gone out in time. So we will repost the public hearing for that, but we can't open the public hearing yet until those other items are taken care of. So if you are here for this, you can just look to our future agendas. If you are in a abutter, you'll be notified by mail, and there will be another public hearing document posted also on the website. That sound about right there, John?
You're coming in and out a little bit. Are we talking about just the enforcement order right now and not the notice?
That's correct, John.
Tonight?
That's correct. Just the enforcement order. It's still those outstanding items. So that as soon as that gets taken care of, we'll have it. We'll have the public hearing, and we can open the public hearing. All right.
Yeah.
Item number.
Yeah, I figured that the notification wasn't gonna the notification to the abutters wasn't gonna happen in time for the enforcement order. So yeah, we'll plan on that on the next hearing. But we're here for the main notice of intent for the whole project.
For the construction of the home. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, for the construction.
Next item is
home.
Item number 3. This is a notice of intent for 67 Chase Road, East Freetown. I don't know, Victoria, do we have anybody here on this project? This project,
No.
Unfortunately, this is no. Okay. So this one is unfortunately was not advertised in time either. And so we need to ensure that it gets advertised. So there will be no public hearing until that happens. That should be continued. That should happen at our next meeting, which is what, the 24th, Victoria?
Yes, May 24th.
Yeah, May 24th. So that's the 67 Chase Road. Same thing applies for number 4. the notice of intent for off Chipaway Road. I know there may be some folks here tonight interested in that. Unfortunately, the applicant did not advertise it in time, so there's a requirement that it get advertised. We will have this public hearing at our May 24th meeting. It'll be via Zoom, same time, 5 o'clock. In the meantime, if anybody has any questions on these things, feel free to forward them to our office, and we can then forward them to the applicant so that they would be better prepared to answer them. Number 5 and number 6 are here tonight. Number 7, I will call back to order the continued notice of intent public hearing for 32 Middleborough Road, East Freetown. This is for the construction of a proposed solar array. This is still in peer review. It's with our outside engineer being reviewed on behalf of the town. So the applicant has asked for a continuation to May 24th, 5 o'clock via Zoom. Additionally, Victoria, I'm going to need you tomorrow to reach out to the applicant. So I want to set up a time with them so I can go over to Middleborough Road and do an on-site with them. So if you can reach out to them tomorrow, that'd be great. So that being said, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 32 Middleborough Road to May 24th, 5 o'clock via Zoom.
I'll make that. I'll second it.
Excellent. Motion made, supported. There's no further discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimous. Skipping over number 8, going to number 9. I will call back to order the continued notice of intent for 0 rear of Simmons Street in the Sonnet. This is for a proposed solar array. Again, like the previous one, this is in peer review, and the applicant has asked for continuation to May 24th. So I will entertain a motion to continue this public hearing to May 24th, 5 o'clock via Zoom.
I'll make it.
I need a second. I'll second it. Motion's been made and supported.
Sorry, the
There's
audio
no
went out.
further discussion. What's that?
I said I lost my audio for a moment, but I'm back.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. So motion's been made and supported to continue to the 24th at 5 o'clock via Zoom. If there's no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. I'm
Aye.
sorry, roll call vote. Chris, yeah, roll call. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimous. Item number 10, we have a continued notice of intent for 2325 Gurney Road, East Freetown. This is for a proposed solar array. Again, like the previous one, this is still in peer review. So they have asked for a continuation to May 24th, 5 o'clock via Zoom. I'll entertain that motion.
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
Excellent. Thank you. Motion's been made and supported. If there's no further discussion on the motion, hearing none, roll call vote. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimous. All right. So that takes care of all that other stuff. If anybody was here for those, again, feel free to reach out to our office via email or call in the afternoon. That's when we have office hours, other than Friday. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, then we can certainly forward those off to the applicant for their consideration. Okay, let's go back to the top. We have a request for determination of applicability. This is for 32 Brayley Road in East Freetown. Owner is the applicant, David DeMello, and the scope of work is grade and construct a carport garage. Folks, if you are here for this meeting and you want to try to follow along with some of these plans, you can go to the town's website, freetownma.gov, and go to boards and committees, Conservation Commission. And on the left-hand side, it's the 4th item down. You'll see Conservation Commission current filings. If you click on that, most of the things that we have should be, that we are considering tonight should be online. Some of the more minor ones may not be. So this is a request for determination for 32 Brayley Road. Is the owner here? The
Yes,
applicant here? How are you, sir?
I'm good. How you doing, Kevin?
Very well, thank you. Victoria, do we have a copy of the plans? I know what they look like. I know what's going on down there, but are they on the website?
Yes, everything I received is on the website.
All right, well, what would it be under then, dear? I'm just trying to find it. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry
Quite
about
honest.
that.
That's all right. Quite honestly, it's not all that important. Let me just give a brief history before we go. I was out doing meter reads the other day, and I went down the driveway and saw somebody that was doing some work. The gentleman was doing work, and asked him what was going on, and he explained he had gotten all the permits from town hall. He said he was all set. Everything appeared to be above board, but unfortunately, it was working within a buffer zone to a wetland, and it wasn't picked up. And like a lot of people out there didn't realize, as soon as I mentioned it to him, mea culpas all around, and I think within the day had applied with us. And so what it is it's a carport. Is that, I'll let you explain it. So why don't you go ahead and explain it, sir?
It's a carport garage. So I have to pour a concrete slab, and then they come and install the carport garage on top of the slab. It's about 30.
It's a carport, right?
Yep.
You said? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this is just a case of where somebody tried to do the right thing, but unfortunately missed a step. And so, like I said, I don't take issue with it. I boots on the ground. I've been there. There was no filling in the wetlands, none of that stuff. And when I pointed it out, he immediately went and took care of everything. So kudos to him.
Yeah, and I did all the sock around, and I did mark everything
Yeah.
up like also.
No, put the flags up, put the silt sock up. No, listen, if we could get everybody to be that compliant, it would be great. So I appreciate you working with us on that. So that being said, does anybody from the board have any questions? This is not a public hearing, so we don't have to take comments from the public.
No questions.
No questions.
Perfect. All right, excellent. Thank you. So that being said, I'll entertain a motion that we issue a negative determination, number 3, that while the work is proposed to be in an area, a buffer zone, but will not dredge, alter, or fill an area subject to protection of the Act. I'll entertain that motion.
I'll make it.
And I will support your motion.
Motion made, supported. Thank you. If there's no further discussion on the motion, hearing none, roll call vote. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimous.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, sir. We will get that signed in the next couple of days, and we'll mail it out to you.
Okay. Have a great night.
Great. You also.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Okay, next on our agenda, we have a public hearing for 5 Crossroads Drive. This is a notice of intent for 5 Crossroads Drive to create a parking lot, so to speak, with associated drainage. I will call the public hearing to order. Again, if you are here as the applicant or their representative, just please identify yourself for the record. Typically with the public hearings, we allow the applicant to make a presentation. We open it up to the general public. If you do have a question, comment, or concern, raise your hand if you are on a TV or on a monitor. Victoria, please get my attention if they do that. If not, just politely interject. And you may also state your name for the record, and then we will allow you to ask questions. That being said, if the applicant is ready, go ahead, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. For the record, now Zager from Zenith Consulting Engineers, here on behalf of Joe Rogers, property located at 5 Crossroads Drive. So we filed a notice of intent with you Property is approximately 1.9 acres and about 1.7 acres of it is upland. It's also located entirely in the Zone A flood zone district. However, we did file a LOMA with FEMA and were issued a LOMA, and it was determined that the entire site is outside of that Zone A now, except for small portions at elevation 73.5 and below. That is all located in the resource area, so no impact to flood zone is proposed. The property is not located within a natural heritage. It's not located within an area of critical environmental concern or an outstanding resource water. The wetlands that were delineated on site were delineated by Steve Schmiel of Hydric Solutions, and there are 2 resource areas on the property. One is an isolated wetland that's located to the east of the property, which is delineated by flags B1 through B14. This is a non-jurisdictional area as it's an isolated area, and it's not, it is not an isolated land subject to flooding. So it does not have a buffer zone associated with it. There's also a bordering vegetated wetland located to the south of the property, which is delineated by flags A1 through A13. That does have a buffer zone, and that is subject to the act. And there is a 100-foot buffer zone delineated on the plan as such. Topography on the property is fairly flat. It ranges anywhere from elevation 76 at the Crossroads down to about elevation 72 at the resource area. The proposal of this project essentially is the clearing of a site and the construction of a gravel parking lot in order to be able to store boats. The applicant owns a marina currently where he sells boats and he needs a lot of more storage. He's based out of Lakeville currently, and he's looking to come here to store these boats for the time being. So basically we're proposing a gravel parking area. What we've done is we've encompassed this entire area within an 8-foot high chain link fence in order to kind of encapsulate it to, 1, protect the resource areas, but 2, to protect the merchandise that's on the property as well. So it will be completely encompassed in an 8-foot high fence. Stormwater, because that's really the main concern here. Stormwater is going to be collected with a very long, narrow sediment forebay, which will capture the entire parking lot. And what happens from that forebay is it will basically settle out any total suspended solids, any silts that are there, and then it will overtop and go into an infiltration basin. That infiltration basin has been designed to accommodate the 100-year storm event, 7 inches of rain, and a 24-hour storm event. There's also an emergency spillway that's been proposed, which directs if this thing were ever to fail, it would direct it directly right towards the wetland and not towards any abutting properties. There is an O&M, an operation and maintenance plan provided on the plan for so during construction and for post-construction to ensure that these systems are maintained properly. Things like erosion, things like the mowing of the basin, and just things to clean up, things of that nature that are expected by the owner of the property to be able to maintain this properly. We have also provided a construction entrance at the where the proposed entrance is off of Crossroads into the site. This just ensures that no erosion or that no silts will get out onto the road. It's basically like a tire tracking pad for these construction vehicles that come on to the site. And we've also provided a dewatering basin in the case that water is hit at during construction. This basin is used to basically be able to pump into in case there is, but we don't suspect that to be an issue. The site's being filled up. We're not really excavating into the ground. So other than topsoil, there's not expected to be much excavation below grade. So We don't suspect it, but we always provide it anyway. And that, besides that, realistically, really, it's pretty straightforward. There's no, you know, oh, I'm sorry, there is a small maintenance shed that's proposed on the plan as well. Basically, that's just to store tools, you know, anything that is needed there. There's really nobody ever on site. Like I said, it's just a storage yard. So there's no septic system
Over there.
or things of that nature. There's no water service to the site, anything like that. So pretty straightforward. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission has.
So Niles, it appears in the, is that northeast? Yeah, the northeast corner of the property, you have a drainage pipe? Is that what that is?
That's correct. Okay, so you see that pipe. So basically what that does, so there's a small area at the north side of the site that is capped, that's basically being trapped. So what we've done is we provided a 12-inch pipe that goes across to the isolated wetland there. And it's taking on very little, if almost no water, but we just want to ensure that there's no, you know, that we don't have any ponding of water. So
Okay.
because this site's being built up and there's no other release to be able to get it anywhere, this was the only way we could really do it. It's clean water. There's no water coming from the parking lot. It's just a way of, you know, discharging that water and making sure that it doesn't get trapped.
Yeah, I mean, I see what it's doing now, right? You're coming up a few feet with your site, but the other site that's adjacent to you is up significantly higher than that.
Yes, sir.
So I get it. So there's a little depression there where if water gets trapped, it'll have some place to go. I get it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there anybody here from the public that has any questions? Okay. Anybody from the board have any questions?
I do not.
All right. Relatively straightforward. Again, you said, so the stormwater management meets the stormwater requirements, correct? Right? You said 100-year storm.
Yes, sir. It meets all the requirements as far as TSS and water quality volume. You know, 100-year storm event. We did a hydraulics analysis, you know, a hydrocat analysis, and to ensure that this thing has a 1 foot of freeboard in the basin, so it meets all the criteria for this, you know, for stormwater management. That's correct.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. One last call if anybody has any questions. Okay, if not,
Kevin, there's somebody trying to talk, but I think he's having a hard time getting his volume on.
Victoria, can you see somebody talking?
It says iPhone.
Yes, I can ask him to unmute. I don't think
Go ahead.
so.
Well,
He looks happy.
if there's anybody trying to talk, you can unmute by pressing *6 if you're just on a phone.
It's only me. I'm John D'Souza. I know I have my iPhone logged in as well because my internet's a little slow here at the office, so it's skipping a lot. So I just logged in using my phone as well.
All right. If there's nobody else here who has any
There's
questions or
somebody
whatever.
else.
Oh, okay.
It says iPhone. If you're on your iPhone, there should be a little icon at the bottom, and you can click it to unmute. If you can't unmute, you can type in the chat.
This is awesome.
No luck?
No luck.
All right, am I the only one that's hearing that noise?
No, I hear it too, Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
good.
hear it.
I thought I was going nuts here for a second. Nothing in the chat, nothing, right? How do we know that they want to get it talk? If it's just an
His
iPhone, what do
his
I?
camera's on and he's raising his hand, but he's still muted.
Oh, gosh almighty. So his camera is on. You can see the person and we can't unmute him?
I
Yes.
see him. He looks happy though. No, he's
It's not John LaRonda, is it?
It is.
Ah.
It is John LaRonda. He's shaking his head.
Yes.
Okay. Is he having a trouble with trying to unmute?
Yes. He's still muted.
Oh, ask him if he wants to write it down on a piece of paper and hold it up
Here
for
we
the
go.
camera or something.
That'll work.
Victoria, is he doing that?
It looks like he's just moving the camera. I'm not sure.
Okie doke.
I think he said 1 second.
Okay. I mean, tell him to try and call in on another phone, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You don't have a mute.
Someone said to touch your iPhone and then the mute will appear at the bottom. To unmute.
Oh, God. I can't wait for an in-person meeting.
I like this. I like this stuff.
Yeah.
You like the background?
Yeah, I'm just on the phone because I got to try to
Oh,
manage
you
two
can't
computer
see it?
screens.
Okay.
No, I'm trying to manage two computer screens with agendas and plans and everything else. So,
Gotcha.
still no luck with John, huh?
No.
Okay. Sorry, Niles. It's the first time that something like this has happened to us.
If he holds his mouse over the screen, it might show the unmute as well.
Oh.
Oh.
If he's on an iPhone, he has to tap the screen first, and then the
Yeah.
little mute unmute.
Is he trying that, Victoria?
I can't. Yes, he said yes, he's trying.
Okay.
In the Zoom link I emailed to you, there should be, you could call in instead of clicking on the link. That might be easier.
Yeah. We'll give him another couple minutes. Just have him call in, Victoria.
I can call him on my phone too, and I can have Mr. LaRonda tell me.
Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that, please?
All right, hold on.
Thank you.
Now it's a nice background you got there. Nice photos.
Victoria, he's pressing the unmute button, but it's saying whoever's controlling it is not letting him in. I don't know if that is what you have on your end or.
No, he's in the meeting.
All right. Hold on.
don't-
Victoria, just make sure you don't have him muted for whatever reason, please.
Oh, no, I can't. I don't have him muted. I'm asking him to unmute. That's what I'm doing.
No, I understand that, dear. And I don't know much about, well, I don't know very much about Zoom at all, but my understanding was that the administrator has the ability to mute or unmute somebody.
Kevin, I'm going to FaceTime him, and then I'll put my camera on, and he can ask whatever questions he wants. Is that okay with everybody?
There you go. All right. See,
all right.
Thank you, Keith.
Okay. Hang on. Let me make sure I can do all this.
Either way, just as long as we can hear the question, that would be great.
Okay, Miss Lorando. I'm gonna.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, John. Go ahead.
Okay, you can ask your question now, Mr. Lorando. You're good.
Yes. I was concerned about the change of elevation, forcing more water than we could handle through our lot, which currently has the septic system underneath the parking lot there. Can they hear the question?
Can you guys hear Mr. Lorando?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't hear them though.
Okay.
I can hear the question.
Yep.
I can hear you.
All right. Nobody's talking yet, Mr. Lorando. I'll Niles, did you hear Mr. Lorando?
I did. Kevin, you guys want me to address that?
Please.
Okay, so the entire parking lot area is being.
Hold on, Niles. Can you hear him talking, Mr. Lorando?
No, I can't.
All right. Let me. For some reason, the volume isn't working now. I don't know.
Keith, just have John call in again. See if it works. I mean, it'll take 2 seconds. He can just call in I can give him the numbers if he wants.
All right, Mr. Lorando, they want to know if you can call in again, and then hopefully we can get you on the on this because it's not working with my FaceTime. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thanks for trying.
Okay.
I'll try calling into the number she gave.
Thank you. Yeah, this is the first time we've ever had something like that.
All right, he's gonna call in. So something with his phone. It wasn't allowing him. It wasn't allowing.
Yeah,
him
I don't
in.
know.
I don't know either. I'm.
No, if he just calls direct rather than trying to go through the app, maybe. Who knows?
This is a first for everything.
You got it. You got it.
Maybe it got wet.
Yeah. There's that. Victoria, you let me know when he gets here.
Okay, I will.
Anything? Nothing?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, I think someone just joined.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. I can't see you,
All
but now
right.
I can hear you.
Yeah, that's the most important part. So, if you would
I
like
had
to
a
answer the question, please.
Yeah.
Sure.
Uh,
I
sure.
had concerns about the elevation changing the water table in the adjacent area that we currently have our septic system in underneath the parking lot at the post office.
So, Mr. Chairman, as far as the drainage goes, we've designed the entire parcel, the entire parking lot to be captured in an infiltration basin, which then is discharged to the wetland. So it's not being directed towards the abutting property. When we do these designs, we cannot direct any additional water, any storm water to an abutting property. It's literally law. So we cannot discharge any additional water. We have to show that there's either, you know, there's no change or there's a net decrease in the post-construction. You know, so when we do our calculations, we have to show that is met to meet these stormwater standards. So we're confident that in a 100-year storm event, this basin that we're proposing can handle a 100-year storm event, 7 inches of rain in a 24-hour span, which is what we're required to do. And there's also an extra foot of volume in there as well in that basin that's required by stormwater as an added factor. So when we do the 100-year storm calc, it's only to the a foot below the berm, and then it overtops and goes out to the wetland if it were to ever overtop and go anywhere. So we're confident that there will be no added impact to the abutting property.
Is it what I see that the retention pond would be in the south, I would say, west corner of the property, abutting my property?
That's correct.
Is there any way to relocate that? Because I know it won't discharge above ground into the adjacent properties, but it would force all that storm water over into that corner of that property.
I mean, this is like the lowest spot on the site, so it's really where it kind of makes the most sense and where it makes the most sense to be able to fit everything on the site. So, I mean, I don't see how it was going to force a change of water table. The water that's going there is going to go there no matter what. I don't see how that's going to be, how that's hydraulically going to make a difference.
So what you're saying is diverting with an impervious cover over that entire property, taking all that water and putting it in that corner, is not going to change the groundwater in that area?
I don't see how it could change the groundwater. No.
Right now, that whole water is absorbing the rainfall for that square footage. You're going to elevate the property, if I heard it right, and then put it all in one corner over there, not leaving the lot, like you said, not discharging over the ground into the lot, but you're saying that it's not going to transfer some of the water table and the rest of that property over to that corner?
The stormwater doesn't change a water table. When we're looking at stormwater, we're looking at the overland flow, and you're absolutely correct. We're taking it. We've considered it in an impervious surface and created an analysis to be able to show that this basin can handle it. But as far as a water table change, that's new to me. Never heard it. Don't know how. Water table was about 3 feet in this area. It's already a wet area. So I mean, if your septic system is in the ground, it's most likely in the water table currently. I did perks out there and water table was around 2.5 to 3 feet. So if that septic system is underneath the parking lot at the elevation I'm seeing, it's probably in the water table currently.
There's currently a recent redo of the septic system on the property adjacent to me at Nephew's. And, you know, it's hard to believe that putting all that ground, you know, that surface water into one area there is not going to change things. I don't see what the change would be if that's the case, to move that retention pond over to the southwest corner near the wetlands. I mean, the southeast corner from the southwest.
So, yeah,
Not
there's
to
about almost
overburden that.
that's the lowest spot. This is the lowest spot on the site where we're proposing it.
Are you changing the elevations of that site at all?
Yes, we are.
So it's currently the lowest spot, and I mean, I don't know, you know, if you're changing the elevations anyway, why it wouldn't be much of a difference. How much are you changing the elevations? I didn't catch all that.
In some spots, 3 to 4 feet.
Let me ask a question relative to groundwater, because that appears to be what we're talking about here. Groundwater,
Yeah.
The water table.
Mm-hmm.
If you move that anywhere else on that property, how does that affect the water table?
I don't know how it would change things at all. Again, I can't speak on that. I can't say that it would, you know, that it wouldn't change it. I can't say that it would. I don't think it would. I just don't, this is a very, very typical design on a, you know, a parking lot area, that we take an area that's been changed and you put a detention basin to capture the area.
Right, I get that, and I guess what I'm trying to do is make others understand what you're trying to say, and what I think I understand.
Yeah,
is that the water that falls on that property right now will percolate at a certain rate, whatever that is, and it ends up in the water table. The water table, as I understand it, is not one of those things where it seeks its own level, correct? So once the water starts percolating down, it spreads out just throughout the ground and throughout the earth, which is why in any one area, you're going to have a consistent water table. Typically, if you dig down, as long as the elevation's the same. It's not like if you dig in a field that's all flat and you go one place and the water table is at 3 feet and you go someplace that, I mean, I suppose it could happen, but at the end of the day, I don't know either, and I'm not an engineer, but I don't know how changing that physical location affects the actual water table. The water that falls on that property goes into the water table now. And
yeah.
So this is honestly, this is in a long time. This is the first time I've had that question come up relative to the water table. I know there's always a concern about, surface water, make sure that we take care of it, treat it. We can't put any more off of it, off the site than what, but it's relative to groundwater. I've never heard that before, quite honestly.
Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Can you agree that it's going to temporarily change the water table in that area till it percolates to its own level? Why would you go out of your way to put it?
No, John, I'll answer I'm not going to defend the applicant's plan, John, but I'll answer your question. No, because the bottom elevation is at 74 of that. And if I'm correct, the water table was 3 feet below grade. Is that correct? Where did you hit water at? What elevation? I mean, the bottom of the basin's not in the water table. The bottom of the basin is how many feet above the water table now?
It's a minimum of 2 feet.
Right. So the bottom of the basin is 2 feet above the water table. So you've got 2 feet of percolation separation between the actual groundwater table and the bottom of that. So as that water percolates through the sandy bottom of a detention basin, it's slowly absorbed into the water table and it slowly dissipates out within that elevation. So I don't know. I'm not an engineer, John. And I guess at the end of the day, what I need to keep everybody I think everybody needs to understand what our role is here. If we have a project that meets or exceeds the requirements, then we're obligated to give an approval, short of us having definitive reasons not to that we could defend. So just again, keeping in mind, if it meets the requirements of the DEP stormwater management guidelines, then we'd be hard pressed to deny it or cause them to make changes to the plan. We can ask. I just don't think, in my experience, John, I don't think it's going to have any kind of significance, whether it's there or if it's another 50 feet or 100 feet over on another corner. I mean, I just don't know if it makes that much of a difference.
But the thing I'm trying to understand is that you're going to take about 1.5 acres of stormwater and concentrate it into a detention pond, which I absolutely understand is going to eventually seek the groundwater level. But you're going to overtax in the ground until it does seek that, quite a bit of area, and we're both counting on the recession of water at the same time in a concentrated area. I just didn't know if they took into consideration with their design the fact that we're using that to, to absorb some volume of water for the daycare and the post office, buildings. So if you had 2 pieces of property, Kevin, and they were side by side, and you wanted to, legally dump groundwater from one piece of property and, drainage from another, would you put them side by side, or would you separate them to allow the distribution to be easier and more, amenable to what you're trying to do?
I would honestly, John, I would have it designed by a professional engineer to make sure it would work. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not an engineer, and I'm not trying to be argumentative, John. That's not it. I'm just trying to understand, if your concern is that having that detention basin there is going to somehow affect the groundwater elevation specific to that location, it's a discussion that I've never had in 20 years. I'm not saying you're wrong, John. I'm just telling you, in my limited experience here in the tiny hamlet of Freetown, I have not had
you've had a lot
have
of
not
experience.
had cause. Yeah, in my limited experience. So no, I guess at the end
you've had a lot of experience, and I'm just trying to explain to you what my concern would be. If there's 1.5 acres and you need X amount of square feet for detention and stormwater, I would think that it would be logical not to tax one concentrated area with discharges from 2 different properties to be in the same area. And I realize they're eventually going to seek groundwater, no matter where they are. But putting them side by side, you're taxing both purposes.
I'm confused on the putting the things side by side. Are you saying that there is a drainage structure that sits adjacent? I don't understand what you're saying, John.
Yeah, my drainage system for our septic system underneath there is side by side with what he wants to put.
Okay, I just don't see it on the.
There's
what kind of drainage? Go ahead.
The septic drainage is underneath the parking lot right in that corner that he wants to put that detention pond.
Your septic field.
Septic field. And there is some stormwater with the roof drains in the daycare and the post office also.
Okay.
Yeah, currently I
Decent
see,
amount of square footage. Never mind the drainage from the parking lot. It's just, if you look at the topography of our lot and theirs, you're putting them both into the same area. I just thought if it was spread out, that his would work better and mine would work better.
I mean, typically, Mr. Chairman, when you do a design for like a subdivision, you do like, I mean, especially if they're all going to the same area, you do one basin. So I don't see how this is really any different. I'm also seeing on that property that there's a paved scupper on his property in the parking lot. I don't know exactly where it's going, but it looks like drainage is just kind of coming off of the pavement and just being discharged directly without any controls onto our property. Currently. So there's a paved scupper that comes down to our side that's just kind of going uncontrolled and onto our property. It goes from elevation about 75 and a half down to 75 down to the wetland. So it looks like there's some uncontrolled that's going down off of his property in his parking lot and into our property. So
it wouldn't, if you look at the elevations, it wouldn't go towards that. There is a drainage easement behind the daycare.
There's an elevation 76 and then a 75, and it's directed right towards our property, and that's where the water's going.
It's not it's not directed that way. It's directed south.
All right. I guess at the end of the day, John, you've asked your questions and you've gotten your answers. You've asked if they would consider moving it. I don't know if we got a definitive or direct answer, but
I have a question.
Please go ahead, Chris.
So even if we agreed with this line of reasoning, it's been my understanding, being on the Conservation Commission for several years, that everything we do, we use the guideline of 310 CMR, Wetlands Protection Act regulations, and everything that's proposed to us currently on this plan meets all those requirements. So we can't just decide to say we don't agree with the state requirements and do our own thing in Freetown. Is that correct?
Well, to a certain degree, you're right, and you're absolutely correct. We could, if we had compelling evidence to state otherwise, that we didn't agree with a engineered plan, if we had peer review and our review engineers would look at that. But these things don't rise, have never in the past risen to this level. Oftentimes they're done and they don't even put in drainage. I mean, we can see the difference in the regulations from when John created Crossroads Drive and you have drainage the way it is and what stormwater management is now. Detention basins and I don't know that any of those things exist on Crossroads Drive. If they do, I don't know where they are. But you're right. At the end of the day, if the engineer is stamping it and it meets the standards, I put it to you this way: if we were to deny it and somebody appeals it, we have to sit in front of somebody and say, why did we deny it? And we darn well better have a good reason. And typically those comes with a stamp and an engineer. So that's something to consider. So I guess I'll just ask for the last time, Niles, is it your applicant's desire to move that or to keep it where it is?
This is Joe Rogers. This is Joe Rogers, the applicant. I would trust the engineer.
Okay. No, it's just a simple question. John, Mr. Lavonda
That's what he does. that's what he does for a living. I don't do that for a living. So
No,
I don't want to tell him how to
appreciate
do his job. So
No, I appreciate that. I just,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Lamond had asked the question if you'd consider moving it, and we have the answer now. So,
thank you.
You're welcome, sir. All right, John, do you have any other questions or comments that you want to make?
I just want to make a comment that that parking lot does not discharge on anything but my own property and my own easement behind the daycare that's put in there for the drainage. You know, we just hope and see if it works, but you know, if it doesn't, then I just don't understand why it, you know, with the whole south end of that lot, why it couldn't be brought to another corner where it wouldn't interfere with the rest of anything. If it's not discharging on any other property and it's designed that way, I just don't think it's prudent to try to get a concentrated area to absorb a certain amount of, you know, more than it has to. I just thought if it was spread out and the impervious material and ground flow that's going to end up in that catch basin is the same, you know, it's like, well, trying to get 2 buckets of water, you know, in an area that you wouldn't spread out, you know, the access to the ground level that it all seeks anyway. But I understand what you're saying. It's just I'm trying to protect the, you know, the area and what it looks, and make sure that it works well for them and it works well for us also. That's all.
No, I appreciate that, John. You've got an investment, you've got tenants, you've got property you want to protect. I get that. I mean, that's
at
not.
the end of the day, if it all works, we're all good. You know, and I'm pleased to see it's not a real undesirable use that's going to be. And I know it wasn't going to stay, you know, a nice pine and forever, because, you know, we're taxing it as buildable property.
Right.
And I realize that, but I'm just trying to compromise before it's in the ground to something that would probably work a little better. And I would feel better if they were considering what we're trying to do with the drainage on our side as to what they're trying to do with the drainage on their side.
Okay. Thank you, John. You make a very passionate case. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have anything? Okay. If not, then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Motion made and supported to close the public hearing. No further discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor, roll call vote. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris is aye. Okay. So now we're tasked with voting on this. I can appreciate the abutters' concerns, but at the same time, I also appreciate the level of engineering that goes into these things, and that we have to just inherently have a level of trust with applicants and their engineers. There's a reason why they have a stamp. There's a reason they do what they do, as Mr. Rogers said. And again, it's in my limited experience, not one time have we had an issue that has been born out of having a stormwater management system contributing adversely to the groundwater in a particular area. So that being said, this is a notice of intent. So basically, it's just I need a motion to approve the plans as submitted.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made and supported. There's no further discussion on the motion. Hearing none. Roll call vote. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris, it's aye. Motion passes unanimous. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Everybody have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Next. Yeah, thank you. Next on the agenda, we have 218 Middleborough Road. This is a notice of intent and plans. I will call, this is a brand new public hearing, so I will call this public hearing to order. Again, folks, we allow the applicant to make their presentation, and then we open it up for anybody to ask questions. This is in response to a enforcement order. There was work that was commenced and completed in and around a buffer zone without the proper permitting. So that being said, I will call the public hearing to order. Do we have the applicant and the representative here?
For the record, Stevie Cavallo of Filing Corp.
How are you, Steve? Haven't seen you nor talked to you in a while.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
I'm not sure if the applicant's here. I believe he was at the previous hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually covering this hearing for a colleague of mine who is currently out of the state. But he gave me a pretty good summary of the project and what they're looking to do. As you guys are all aware of, it's a after the fact filing where buffer zone and the resource area was kind of cut and cleared. So we're looking to restore a good portion of it, all of the wetland resource area, the 25-foot no touch. I'm sure you've received copies of the restoration plan, which was performed or prepared by environmental consulting.
Well, Stevie, just in fairness, though, we did receive it at the office. This is the first public hearing. This is the first time many of us may be seeing this.
Okay.
In fact, it might be that some of the members didn't even actually, not all the members might have been able to get out to the site. So,
okay. I mean, I don't know if it's an option for me to share my screen and present the plan.
Yes. Victoria,
okay.
Why don't you give him the ability to share his screen, please?
Okay, you have permission.
Okay, can everyone see this?
Yes.
So here's the property. It's, as you can see, this red line here was the previous limit of clearing based on aerial imagery. It's fairly approximate, but I wouldn't say it's too far off. The applicant had actually gone and cleared up to this limit of clearing, which we survey located. Once the enforcement order was issued, we had the wetland scientists visit the site and delineate the wetland resource areas. This line here, which is kind of on the border of this green hatch, is a bordering vegetative wetland. He also delineated a stream, which is off the site, but we do have the inner and outer riparian zones on our property. This blue hatched area is the proposed wetland meadow and open water restoration area to be seeded with an obligated wetland meadow seed mix. The green area, you can see, is just the proposed wetland restoration area. It's about 28,000 square feet, a little more than that, and it's to be restored with a native wetland seed mix. And we've got this.
Stevie, hold on a second here. Steve, hold on a second, buddy.
Sure.
Did you just say it's 28,000 square feet?
Yeah, so the total disturbed wetlands is like 40,000 square feet. It was quite extensive.
Oh, you don't say. Wow. Okay. It's even more than I thought.
Yeah. And we're just looking to restore the buffer zone, the 25-foot no touch, which is about it's almost 13,000 square feet. all of this, I mean, we could have under the direction, the wetland replication monitored and under the direction of the wetland scientist of environmental consulting and restoration. But for the most part, that's, you know, what he's looking to do. This red hatched area, it's just it's disturbed wetland. He doesn't, I mean, sorry, not disturbed wetland, disturbed 100-foot buffer that he currently doesn't propose to do anything with. Just, you know, put loam and seed over it and let it grow. It's quite an extensive wetland resource restoration. It's a large area, and you're talking almost an acre in just the wetlands.
Yeah.
Not to mention within the 100-foot buffer.
Well, right. I mean, you've got, at this point in time, the work in the buffer zone is I don't want to say inconsequential, but it's certainly not as much of a problem or an issue for us.
So you guys can see the two areas here. The wetlands is 40,400 square feet. The buffer zone area is about 32,675 square feet of disturbance.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to suggest, right? You've done all this work. I think it's going to be necessary for us to get out there and take a look at this thing.
Sure.
Prior to moving forward, this may even require going to peer review to make sure. But you said that they've hired a wetlands. What is it called?
So we hired a wetland scientist. This wetland restoration
wetland. Yes. Yeah.
So the gentleman's name is Brad Holmes, and he owns Environmental Consulting and Restoration. He's the one who prepared this wetland restoration plan. He's the wetland scientist we've been working on this project. One other thing I wanted to note is that we did propose these red squares, which are kind of like indicators, some sort of post or signage that states that this is a protected resource area and no work beyond this limit. That's something we threw in there just kind of as an added measure for anybody in the future to not do this again.
Yeah.
I know it's after the fact.
No. Listen, we'll provide you with the placards. We have some, and I meant to the prior application too. We would have them put that there. This is a pretty extensive file, and I had no idea that there was that much intrusion into the actual wet, and that's a wet meadow. I mean, the hope with those types of things are that they will naturally come back to a certain degree, but geez Louise. Does anybody from the general public have any questions? Anybody here from the general public on this? No? Okay. So I don't know about the rest of the board members, but this is a pretty sizable project that probably requires us getting out there, taking a look at it, understanding. If anything, it'll be a learning experience for us too, because there's a lot that's going to be going on. There's a lot of resource areas here, riverfront area. You've got buffer zone to a buffer zone to a wet meadow, right? These are all wet meadows, right? None of it is a BVW.
From my understanding, the green hatched area is bordering vegetative wetland.
The green hatched is a BVW.
Wet meadow, open water restoration area, the blue area.
Okay. Steve, who's actually doing this from your office?
So the engineer here is Christopher Gilbert.
Okay. Wondering if we can't get an on-site to give a couple of us an opportunity to go over and take a look at it.
I definitely think that's an option. And even though he's out of the state, he's been responsive to his emails. And so communicating with the client and scheduling a date to come visit the property shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. All right. And then we, yeah, well, we need to make a determination whether we send this out for peer review. Under normal circumstances, we would. I'm not going to lie to you. But I want to take a look at it out there and then really dive into this restoration plan. And we can go from there. Anybody from the board have any questions?
No, I'd like to go out there with you though.
Absolutely. You know, and this is why, and it's unfortunate these things happen, right? And again, you know, the applicant has obviously, or whoever, you know, or the property owner sees and recognizes the issue and is moving forward. But this is why we try to get people just to reach out to us, because I'd rather spend 10 minutes talking with somebody and letting them know what's going on rather than doing all this. So, all right. If there's no other questions, then I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to May 24th, 5 o'clock via Zoom.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll support the motion.
Thank you very much. Motion made, supported. No further discussion on the motion. Hearing none. All those in favor? I'm sorry again. Roll call vote. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimous. Steve, good to talk to you.
Yeah.
We'll reach out to the applicant or the engineer, and we'll try to set up something to get out there.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. All right, John. We've made you wait long enough, buddy. So,
that's all right.
I will call back to order the continued public hearing for 41 Water Street for the purpose of construction of a single-family home, associated grading, wall repair, and a garage. So I've called that public hearing back to order. John, you, in response to our last meeting, you had said you were going to meet with the abutters, I think, Lori and Jeff, if I'm not mistaken. I did see you out there the other day. You had an opportunity. Have you made some changes to the plans that would to accommodate that? You want to tell us briefly how you made out with that meeting?
Sure. Can I share my screen?
Victoria?
Yep, I'm gonna give him permission right now.
Okay. John, I think we're still waiting for the 4th peer review letter. Right. We're all on the same page with that.
Yeah. I know that there was a request that came in from Madam for another $3,300, which I thought was a bit excessive for a 4th review letter that basically handles the remaining open items.
Okay. We can, John. What we'll do is then, when Victoria gets to the office tomorrow, I'll have her reach out to Adam and see if we can't facilitate. I agree. I don't know why we don't get involved with environmental partners pricing. So I don't even know. At first blush, I can understand why you would be taken aback. So,
yeah, I mean,
at the end of the day,
my client's already stated to me that he's paid the review engineer more than he's paid me. So I don't know, maybe I got to raise my rates.
Yeah, but yeah, I can appreciate that, which is why I'm telling you, John, I can appreciate that. I think we've gotten, this has been reviewed and reviewed and reviewed. And if I remember correctly, the last meeting, there's little to no outstanding items that can't be addressed or haven't been addressed. So, so I think at the end of the day, why don't you present your stuff tonight based on your conversation with the abutters and any changes that you might have made, and we can work on EPG and seeing if we can't get resolution so that we can vote on this at our next meeting when we open the public hearing for your for the enforcement action. Maybe we can take care of two birds with one stone that night, John.
All right.
Okay.
So the meeting that I had with Laurie and Jeff actually I think went pretty well. I think there were a little I think there were a little, they had a misconception of how the wall was gonna got constructed. So I explained to them how the wall was going to get constructed, and then they voiced their opposition in the opinion, because there is the first easterly property line where basically the hand is shown right there. It's 141 feet long, but the wall that is there, they under the deed, they have full ownership of that wall. So anything that my client would want to do to that wall would require permission from them. And they really don't want to see anything happen to that wall, because it's a, you know, it's a nicer old stone wall. And they would like to keep it as such. So in viewing that, the option that we came up with, and I'll move the screen over to this cross section. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one block and only one block high for that length on that property line, where it's going to be sitting in the ground 6 inches, and then the top is going to come up and it's going to have the cap. So we're not excavating other than 6 inches of material to lay the block in with some gravel base on it. We're not excavating anything, and it's going to keep the natural vegetative state between the new block and where the old wall is for that length of that 141 feet. Now, the new wall is not going to be 141 feet long. That's the property line. So when I refer to 141 feet, I'm referring to that one property line. The new block is actually going to be starting approximately 30 feet from where the head wall is. Basically almost the low point of where on the ground, where there's a natural low point over at that stone wall. So that's where that one block is going to run from. So it's going to run from there, and it's going to run all the way to the old clump of trees that used to be here, but I think there's only 2 trees left that got ripped out. And then the remaining portion where my mouse is going to, that's getting rebuilt, and then it jogs onto my client's property. Then it goes up from there, that one block up. So that will relieve her concern, and it'll keep the natural grade of this area, because we know that this area right up in here floods up on extreme high tides or moon tides, and the street actually gets inundated with the water, and it flows back and over the ground, and it basically empties out right where that low point is, where I have that little hand moving. So that's going to retain the natural feature. They were happy that we had moved the proposed garage barn from where the hand is, where it says proposed the grass area, over to the other portion of the lot. So they were happy with that. And then we also added an approximate septic system area and approximate of the tank where it's going to go. So as you can see, everything is getting pushed and tucked away to the north or west corner of the property. as far from everything as we could possibly get. So after spending about, I'd say a good half hour, 3/4 of an hour with Laurie and Jeff out there, they seemed more comfortable than what they originally were when this whole project started on that. And
okay, well, that's good.
I think that pretty much concludes what the big concerns were.
All right. Victoria, is any of the abutters here with us tonight?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess
Well,
you
really
listen,
be
you might
happy.
have kept them. What's that?
So they really are happy then.
I was going to say, John, it must be because they've been at all our meetings. So you must have, and I know it's been a long haul, but that's kind of how these things I oftentimes hope would work out.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, please, yes.
One other thing that we spoke about that I assured them that was going to happen, and actually I wanted part of the conditions as well is that during the construction portion of the wall that my firm, somebody from my firm will be on site for every day of construction on that wall to make sure that it is in compliance with what the plan states and what I have told them, and also what I've stated to you, the Conservation Commission as well. Because I want to make sure that they understand that I meant what I had said by keeping tabs of who's ever building this to make sure that it doesn't happen again as to what previously happened.
I think that's a very good idea, John. And since it's coming from you, you know, it's difficult for us because that obviously there's a cost associated with that. So we try to condition things, but if that the applicant, so yes, right. I think when we finally get around to this at the next meeting, that should be a condition. So I agree with you. Anything else from the board? Like I said, we've been looking at this plan for a little while now here, and you know, your applicant, John, to be fair to the applicant has gone with a, I don't want to call it an aggressive plan, but he's trying to get bang for the buck like anybody would. So, you know, with that comes inherent difficulty. So I do appreciate you and your client's patience, but we have a job to do too. So,
right,
John, why don't we do why don't we do this, John? I'll have Victoria reach out to you and see if we can't get some resolution to what's outstanding from Environmental Partners Group, what they need to get done and what you need to pay for, and maybe we can do that on a little bit of a group call. So
yeah, I mean, you know, I understand Adam and everything, but I think for the last conversation that we had, we basically had everything all lined out except for what the neighbors wanted. And I don't know, to me, I feel that the request for an additional 3,300 was
John, you heard John, I don't want to beat this up, and we understand where you're coming from. So I think you've heard what I've said, right? So we're gonna try to facilitate a conversation to get to where we want to go, to get all parties happy. We need to be comfortable, you guys need to be comfortable. So I'll have Victoria reach out to you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. All right.
right.
That being said, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 41 Water Street to May 24th, 5 o'clock via Zoom.
I'll make that motion.
Well, I'll support
Thank
it.
you. Thank you very much. Motion is supported. If there's no further discussion, hearing none, roll call vote. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimous. So I don't know, Victoria, have you sent out that email yet, dear?
For the minutes?
No, dear. Don't you have a little something to say?
Oh, I did not.
I'll say it. I'll say it for you, Victoria.
Okay.
Victoria, unfortunately, her time with us is short-lived. She has taken the opportunity and was rewarded with a job offer in another community, and is going to be given a little bit more responsibility, and she's going to be given a lot more money. So I am fearful. Is this your last meeting with us?
Yes, it is.
So, needless to say, it's been a short ride, but it's been a good one, Victoria. I just want to say thank you. You've been a pleasure to work with. Very eager. Rochester is getting a gem. I know that. I know that the other guys and folks on the Conservation Commission have all said positive things to me about you. So I want to wish you luck. And if you've got any friends that are looking for a part-time job, 12 hours a week at $16 an hour, hey, send them all down. I'm sure the line will be long. That was a very sarcastic statement, and I'll fully admit that. So
I'll have my resume there tomorrow, Kevin.
Oh, thanks, John. All right. So we'll get to the minutes at our next meeting. She just sent them out today. So we'll give me a chance to review them. In the meantime, I will have Victoria try to set up a site walk for 218 Middleborough Road too. So, all right, folks, if there's nothing else, Victoria, we got everything on the agenda tonight that we needed to?
Yes.
You're the best. All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
And I will second it.
Motion made, supported to adjourn. No further discussion. Hearing none. Roll call vote. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimous. Hey, thank you, gentlemen. We will reach out via email, let you know about site walks and stuff like that.